Hi Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to Ethernal Realms. In this video, we'll talk about how this Aries new moon eclipse is impacting you. So it's a fellow fire sign and this eclipse is taking place on the 20th of April. So around that time, you might receive some, insights, some awareness, and that is going to motivate and inspire you to go for certain things which require a little bit more courage from your side. And like I said, it's already a fire sign, so you it's in your wheelhouse. You can understand and play with this energy quite well. Yes. Yes, of course. We have the sun as well squaring up to Pluto. So the new moon would be squaring to Pluto, which is the planet of death, rebirth, and regeneration. And Pluto is in Aquarius at this time, which is in your partnership house. Okay, it has just about entered. It's at 0 degrees. And the eclipse is at 29 degrees. So the very first degrees and the very last are quite urgent. And whenever events or planets are placed around this place, there is a level of let's quickly get this over with, or let's quickly get this started, let's begin, or let's close out an old chapter. So there is that little bit of a restlessness or an urgency that surrounds us all the zodiacs. With this particular eclipse here. And as soon as the eclipse happens, the moon quickly moves into Taurus. So where the nodes are still, the Taurus and Scorpio axis that we were experiencing throughout 2022 still has not moved completely out. But the eclipse cycles are slowly starting to move into Aries Libra axis this particular year. And even if the nodes are still there in Taurus Scorpio, the flavor of it is completely different from what it was last year. So yes, but either way, there is like a leak over of a realization that you have and the impact that it creates for you. Okay, so let's see our cards and kind of see how all of this is playing out. Okay, we have a life purpose card. We have strong determination. Also, I'm getting a streamlined focus and alignment in general. You are clear about what you're wanting to create, and you are wanting to put in the equal amount of effort in that direction as well. I think there is a level of clarity that comes in, and this transformation that Pluto represents can be, like I said, bringing in some awareness or new information, new resources, or just an awakening that happens within you that helps you recognize your own capacity. And then we have the goddess of fertility over here. This can indicate that your intuition is really sharp. We do have Mars in Cancer, which would be in your 12th house if we go by the rising sign. And Mars is playing a very strong role in this particular eclipse because it rules Aries, where the eclipse is taking place. So Mars being in Cancer, it can be a little bit frustrating for Mars, but it also brings a lot of force into our emotions and our intuition when they're placed in the 4th house, 8th house, 12th. So this goddess coming up here can indicate that there is a desire for you to procreate perhaps, or again, this does not have to be human babies. It can be like new projects that you're seeking. There is like a new sense of fulfillment that you're wanting to create. Perhaps there's a change in lifestyle that you're craving and so on. It's more of an internal feeling when we have the moon cycles coming through. It's a feeling and a nudge that you get. It can also indicate that you find some clarity through your dreams. Yes, and this posture over here can indicate that while you are meditating, praying, or kind of doing something that you're actually passionate about, and you kind of get lost in that particular momentum, that's when certain insights can come in for you. Also, there are different ways of expressing yourself that you might be discovering. You are the zodiac of self-expression, so like I said, there is that inspiration and motivation that comes through with this eclipse that spurs you into action, and you might be shedding away older ways of expression as well. Okay. All right, let's see our astro cards. We have Taurus coming up. Yes, we did talk about Taurus. Also talks about the practicality of things. This rules your 10th house of career as well. So there can be a change in profession if that's something you want, or a change in yourself that leads to a shift in profession and your reputation, the things that you're trying to create as a legacy. There is more stability here. And the stability is because you are moving in a direction that you know is very truthful to you. With these two particular cards that we first got, there is a lot of integrity and honesty that needs to come in, because in order for harmony and peace to exist, we need to have clarity about all of the different parts within us. We can't have the subconscious hiding things from us, nor can the conscious deny the subconscious, right? So everything is kind of working in a streamlined manner that brings about more growth and expansion for you. We have the 12th house. Yes, we talked about this as well. This can be a time of seclusion for you, by the way, or you might be desiring some type of quiet time, solitude, self-contemplation and understanding of your circumstances so far. That brings in, again, a sense of closure, a sense of peace, and also understanding of yourself, your nature and your talents as well. I'm getting that you might discover some latent abilities or latent resources. Like I said, you might be expressing in a different way. So let's say you were a dancer, now you might decide to pick up painting, or vice versa. It might be just a completely different way of expression, but it is still in the domain of what you are wanting and you're passionate about. Then we have Pisces coming through with, okay, so 12th house and Pisces are all very connected here. We have Saturn in this zodiac at the time of this eclipse. So Pisces talks about things that are wanting to come into peace, come into harmony, alignment, and release as well. So any obstacles along the way or any rigidities that are not serving you anymore, they are going to be released. If we are resistant to such a release, then it feels a little bit painful. But if we know or we are aware of what needs to go and we are struggling with letting that go, that's okay, relatively, right? It is still not the easiest if we have obstacles in the first place. But if we are aware of them and the opportunity arises, then we are capable of taking advantage of that situation. So chaos is not always bad, and sudden changes are not always bad. Sometimes we need that breakthrough, and we need that little bit of a push that helps us let go of limiting behaviors, right? So this thing feels like the release and loosening of a knot that was there, a blockage that was there, and it now helps you be more in flow with yourself, your surroundings, your mind, body, and soul, everything in alignment, and you are able to create very effectively, efficiently, constantly. It's as though inspiration comes through you. You don't have to try very hard to unlock this side. But Saturn is over here in the zodiac, like I said, and that can indicate that, he's kind of enhancing the blocks that are already there. So yes, none of the planetary movements mean that, they're creating diseases or creating blocks. That just doesn't happen. They're only pronouncing and showcasing what already is. Okay, so Saturn's job is to make us a little bit more serious about the things that we're afraid of, or the things that we are insecure about in this particular zodiac. Also, what stops us from connecting with our spiritual selves, because we want to have a sense of purpose, we want to have fulfillment, but if there are certain things blocking us, we can't express it, so we're kind of left wanting more and more. So Saturn in this placement can help you find all of those things, and also the path to unlocking those. So you might find yourself, like I said, a little bit isolated, or even connecting more to your intuition and spirituality. Your dream life can be very active around this time. Also with this ocean over here in the backdrop, more water and more blue over here, it can really talk about your subconscious delivering a lot of answers for you. Examine your fears and the shadows. All right, then we have Aquarius, which is right opposite your sign, and this can talk about certain partnerships you might have. A partner can help you out see these things. You can even be working one-on-one with someone who is more knowledgeable, a little bit rational in these types of topics. So while you're very passionate, you might find someone who's more intellectual, and they give a little bit of a logical perspective on certain problems that you might be dealing with. This can also indicate that you're learning, researching, and trying to reinvent yourself, express your originality with Aquarius. You're determined, basically, to be yourself through and through. And in order to do that, there might be some fears that need to let go, some resistances that are in the way. And once that is true, you can be very solid in your unique essence. There is a form of revolution and rebellion that Aquarius has. Again, it depends, like a rebel without a cause or a rebel with a cause. One gives you purpose, the other one creates chaos. And different people can choose different things at different times based on what actually feels right to them. But ultimately, the point of the zodiac of Aquarius is to create meaningful change, because anything that stays stagnant is really rotting. There's no growth anymore. There's nothing going on there. So it needs to get out of something that was fixed before. For example, Capricorn comes before Aquarius, and it's all about hierarchy and the top-down approach, and only the elder is right and everyone else's perspective is absolutely wrong. But meanwhile, Aquarius is like, that does not make sense, because everybody has different experiences, and we need to see that as a unique perspective. But then we also need to look at how the unique individual is impacting the greater whole, right? So ultimately, it is trying to create a very large change. It's a broad-minded zodiac. So it's like you have to take into account many bits and pieces of information before creating any sort of final judgment of any type. But here in your particular case, it feels as though you are having that breakthrough and enlightenment of many thoughts happening, many ideas coming through, and you don't really know yet of what it is trying to say or what the picture is finally going to be. All you know is that it feels right, or it makes sense. And also it is kind of making you feel a lot more flexible in life. You are a fixed sign, and we see these two fixed signs over here, but the mutable presence and the Pisces presence is telling me that there is something here which is helping you shake very loose, kind of, again, different ways of expressing, showing up in the world, different skills that you might be using. There's just a lot more fluidity that's coming in, but it's not aimless in any way. You still have that purpose, because, like I said, you're a fixed sign. Without a purpose, there's like, it doesn't make sense to change for any fixed sign here. But yes, I'm constantly doing this with my hands. It's like, okay, loosey-goosey, that's the kind of vibe I'm feeling throughout this. Also, this goddess talks about that. All right, then we have the Three of Cups, Mercury in Cancer, with abundance. There can be a connection with family members. Good communication could be happening here, or you might be connecting with siblings if you have any. Three of Cups also indicates very close friendships, having a very harmonious relationship and time. So there could be some, good times, fun times in privacy, in isolation with your circle. Yes, Aquarius also talks about the friend group. There can be a community that you're relating with, and in the meantime, you might be letting go of a previous community as well, keeping only the close members with you. The 12th house always talks about that shedding. Like, is this true to my soul? Like, to the deepest part of it, is this true to me? If not, it just doesn't want to hold on anymore. Okay, so there might be certain things or people like that where you just want to spend time with a very select few. Okay, then we have Princess of Wands, or the Page of Wands. This one is very exciting, very bubbly, creative and curious, dramatic as well, totally up your alley. So it looks like everything that I say of feeling light, airy, kind of flexible, also very passionate and driven. There is a purpose, but then you're also open and curious to try out many different things, many different forms of self-expression. Your creativity is in general rising, and it's very nice to like gather some maturity and then open up fully and look at things curiously. It's kind of a win-win situation is what I'm getting here. Like I said, a fire sign and another fire sign, they're already buddies, right? We already get along, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So it's that type of vibe where you have an optimistic, upbeat type of outlook on things. But that does not dismiss the seriousness of the things you have learned before, right? It's just that things are lightening up now. All right, then we have Patience with Saturn and Taurus. I guess I spoke a little bit too soon, but yes, Patience can indicate that your patience will be rewarded, is being rewarded, because Saturn is all about that. Like, you put in the work, he will for sure reward you. Like, he does not skimp out, okay? He's either rags or he's riches. He's either poverty or he's luxury, right? He does not have that kind of a middle ground, I suppose. But he kind of is like, you gotta earn the respect, you have to earn your money, you have to earn your work and things like that. Wherever Saturn is in your birth chart, you can see for yourself that, you know, there is an attitude of, I need to persevere for this, I have to work really hard for this, not because again, the superficial interpretation, not superficial, but like the mundane level interpretation would be that you don't have enough of something and that's why you're working on it. But from a more psychological perspective, it can be the other way around, right? So this 7 of Pentacles here is indicating that things that you have spent time, practice, effort, resource, your willingness, your intention, all of those things those things will start bearing fruit. And from now on, whatever else you put your intention on, that will also bear fruit. But give it time. If you're not patient, the crop cannot grow healthy and strong like you want it. If the thing that you want is worth it, put in the time, patience, and effort, right? If it's not, then you know what, don't bother. And if you don't yet know what to commit to, like the other cards say, have fun and explore, see how many ways you can discover yourself in different ways, different people, different settings, things like that. Just kind of go out and have fun and be patient with yourself in discovering what exactly that you want to be serious about. In the meantime, flow along. Yeah, really, Saturn in Taurus, that too. This makes way for like material rewards and finances. This creative effort or the releasing that is taking place here can lead to something new that actually brings in material rewards and also value and esteem in your life. We have the Queen of Wands, which is a Leo card. So is the Page of Wands, actually. By the way, pages can be messengers as well, so there can be some information that comes in, like I said earlier, that really excites you. It could be an idea as well. So the Queen of Wands is also very dramatic, has a flair for theatrics, so theater, drama, acting, all of these things. If you are into that, again, work on the craft, collaborate with people, learn from each other, and make sure that this is something true to you and you're not doing this for, you know, kind of a compensation type of reasoning or fear-based or insecurity-based reasoning. It's passion-based and skill-based, things like that are coming through. Saturn in Taurus is like patience, sure, but it's also let's be realistic, let's be grounded and humble and things like that, and really put in the grind work, and then for sure we will get there. Queen of Wands is very confident and charismatic, which is absolutely in your nature. So I think this is where you are really shining here. Fire signs once more. It's like the old energy is off with it, you know, done with that. And you are in command here when we have the court card of your particular zodiac. You are in command and you decide what goes in and what goes out. When you're done with something, you're done with something. She's a natural transformer of things that are more emotional and dark and murky in nature, and she sheds light into it with her warmth, generosity, compassion, and acceptance. Okay, so it can be that other people are feeling drawn to you and they might be making certain offers. There might be different, you know, contacts you have to reach out to, and you need a little bit more rest at this time. Perhaps you have your own business. The Queen of Wands has her own business, so it can be a thing, but there might be like a lot of communication going on, so you need a little bit of a rest or a downtime. There could be some changes you're making that is also very effective. Okay, so you're in a good position to shine and help and get help as well, depending on what position you're in. But there is a lot of success and connection. There's a lot of networking, closer communities, closer bonds that you're forming here. Also, one message I'm getting with 7 of Pentacles is that work on the foundation, because you don't want that to be shaky, right? Saturn is all about that. Do the groundwork, do the legwork, because that's the most important part. If you can do that, you can soar. Okay. Yes, we have the Ace of Swords. Lovely. So far, you guys are the only ones getting an ace, which is surprising a little bit to me, but good to see. Okay, so Ace of Swords is about that clarity and epiphany that I was talking about here. There's a clearing of the air. It's like you're breathing fresh air again. Like this is the purest air you're breathing. And by air, I mean not literal, you know, their air outside of you, but like in a mental space as well. Like when you sleep and you feel really well rested, that's like a whole other feeling, right? Your day goes on very differently. It's kind of that level of clarity. There can be a sudden realization and a spark that Aquarius also symbolizes as soon as Pluto enters, and kind of carries on while Pluto is still in Aquarius. So quite important times for you with Pluto entering that sign. Yeah, because it's right opposite yours. So the way that other people see you is going to be shifting dynamically, drastically as well in the beginning stages. You might be reinventing yourself. Perhaps you don't think it's that drastic, but other people definitely notice that, and you feel it from the way that other people act, that something is different here. And you might feel more boosted and confident by someone else's validation. There is a lot of support here as well. And that could be the reason why you're letting go of certain fears that, perhaps what you thought before that, let's say, maybe I'm not skilled enough. Let's just take that example, right? Maybe I'm not skilled enough, but then someone gives you the compliment in exactly the place where you were insecure about, and that might change your view as well. Like, okay, I was not looking at this realistically. Perhaps I was being a little bit too critical on myself, or I was not being very grounded about this. I was all up in my passion and my feelings and so on. So now that you say it, now that I hear it from outside of me, that makes more sense. So I'm going to let go of that fear or that insecurity. So it can be through a conversation with someone else that can come through, that this clarity comes through. Okay, so let's see what else we have for Leos. April eclipse. Aries. Yes, we have Aries, 4000 Jupiter. Okay, so there can be some growth in your home and family situation as well. Your home might be expanding, something to celebrate with people who you call family. It can be even friends or siblings, by the way, because we have the Mercury Cancer card here. Yeah, so something to celebrate regarding the home estate. What else? There can be, yes, there is definitely a boost of self-confidence from a very deep space. Like, you can't be shaken. When we talk about the fourth house, it's literally the foundation, the very base of the chart, right? So whenever there are transformations going in that house, the outside world cannot see it, but it's extremely pivotal and radical. Okay, because that is going to change how you show up in your career. It changes how you associate with other people and also how you see yourself. So it's like kind of handling all of these different areas of life without even showing, without even blinking odd in front of people, right? It's such a private thing. So when we have this confidence and this boost that's coming up from that same depth, then you can only imagine how far that is going to propagate, and you only know how much you can do and how much passion you really have. So that level of self-awareness and understanding is where you're getting your fuel and your power, and I feel this time it is endless. Or at least that's how it feels like from this particular eclipse energy here. Very enthusiastic and ready to take action, ready to take a leap of faith as well. Yes, but simultaneously there is that level of, yes, I feel it deep down, and you're not being reckless about it. Anything that's in the fourth house is also a little bit passive, does not show up immediately. It's a little bit more measured in that way. Still very passionate, no discounts on that. But yes, it does not act instantly like it would in the first house, for example. Yes, okay, let's see one more for Leos, Aries eclipse. We have Scorpio, 12th house, and the sun. Okay, so there is a transformation of the core. Absolutely. There is a revelation coming from the subconscious. There is clearing and clarity. There's just this openness that I was getting earlier. It's as though you've met your shadows and now you're friends with it. It's that kind of unity and clarity that's coming through here. Some of you might have Scorpio placements as well. Maybe check it out, that reading. It might have some more messages for you, or Pisces placements. I see that. Pisces, Taurus, Scorpio placements. If you have, then yes, those readings would be important. Apart from that, what is this? Yes, you might find yourself asking a lot of questions about purpose. When the sun is in the 12th house, it is more focused on spirituality and exploring itself, the soul itself. It might keep asking, well, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Who am I really? Who am I really is the biggest question. And each time that you answer with Scorpio being there, there can be a drastic change in the response that you give yourself, right? Because the person you are is not static. You have changed a lot, and at different points in time you have different answers. So this would be a time where you receive a different sort of answer for yourself about who you are. What do you stand for? What drives you? What is primal to you? What is that raw source of power that you have from deep down that brings you that boost of hope and confidence? What keeps you going even when times are tough? Because that motivation is very important to recognize, because at times when we are in the thick of some type of struggle, we can't really call it if we don't specify it in a previous time. So let's say it's my family that keeps me strong and going. Let's say that's the case for you. Then, when you are going through another difficult phase of any type, then instead of throwing in the towel and be like, well, this is really hard, what you remember also in the back of the mind is like, yes, but you're not the only one in the equation. You're also doing this for your family and you care about them, right? And that brings you that extra boost of adrenaline and willingness to go for and, conquer the problems or the struggles that are perceived as struggles, and take it as opportunities and kind of deal with it. And you just come out of it stronger, right? That's kind of the vibe here. You just keep getting stronger. You think that this is a sort of weakness, perhaps, but it is really not. It's just another upgrade of empowerment. As a Leo, you're a life generation, so that's really not happening. That, life's done and we can just sit quietly in some corner. That doesn't happen with Leos. And if you felt that way, then the time's up for the shadows. Okay, so if you worked on this very well, you've dissolved things as the best that you could do given your circumstances and timeline and everything, you will kind of enjoy the things that come as a result of this particular eclipse here. Yeah, there might still be some things left to be kind of closed out, but you're so to the brink of it that it's really, you're almost through, okay? And everything else is kind of a lingering thing that is automatically being shed. With the 12th house, there's not really much you can do. This is the most passive house of all. It is happening in the background. It is more spiritual in nature and does not require any conscious intervention. So it feels as though you've gone through a lot of personal evolution yourself, and now it's time for spirit to take care of you. Wow, really strong. So that's what I have for you, Leos. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box in the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.